When your character is written like a villain, behaves like a villain, and has motivations like a villain, you're just a racist for pointing out all those things, apparently, according to the Access Media and Marvel, who are defending Ironheart. They cannot fathom the idea that people do not like this character, and that even though she claims she's a hero, she really doesn't act like one. And now the audience scores are tanking. We, of course, see it not even breaking into the streaming original charts for its release week. And we have to see them coping in real time, saying, oh, it's okay, guys, because Ironheart has become the third highest rated MCU project in phase 5. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, we all knew that when Ironheart finally released, it was going to be a nightmare for Marvel, because on one hand, you have the Marvel shills who say that they can do no wrong, and that anybody who criticizes a project like this is racist, and on the other hand, you have real Marvel fans, the people that they've pushed away over the past few years, who don't like characters that were written only in 2016 to replace their favorite male characters. That's all that Ironheart ever was meant to be, was a Tony Stark replacement, and in this, they completely trash his legacy. They don't care about the existing fans they had, and not only are they like desecrating Marvel's legacy, but they also just came up with a really bad product all around, because they cannot allow a black female to be a villain. They cannot allow a black female to actually be written properly and in a way that is compelling. No, you just have to view her the exact way they want you to, and if you don't, you're an ist. And of course, that is what is happening. We knew that it was going to, but Ironheart's audience scores have plummeted as the mainstream media is crying about review bombing. So another Marvel series, another media meltdown. This time, it's Ironheart caught in the crosshairs of what outlets like Screen Rant are calling a review bombing campaign. I think that it's so funny whenever they do this, because really they're just admitting that they cannot accept the fact that not everybody is going to like the same content they do. When you put a controversial figure in her own TV show and you're flipping off the fans of the character that she's replacing, because she clearly was only written in 2016 to be a diverse Iron Man replacement, that's just not going to be like a sound strategy. But is that really what's happening, or is the term just another convenient shield every time audiences reject a Disney-backed product? I understand that the only way the access media exists now is because of their access. And that's why they show for these companies. They simp for Disney at every chance they get, or Warner Brothers, or whoever, because they need to keep their access. If they praise these series and say that fans are racists and sexists and bigots, right, they get access to those early interviews and early screenings. They get promotional material that nobody else does. And that's not going to last for much longer, clearly. When your opinion is so wildly different from the audiences are just going to discard your opinion, and that's what we've seen happening. It's been a little bit slower in Hollywood versus the video game industry, because in Hollywood, the industry, while yes, a lot of people do like watch and consume movies and TV shows, we're talking about just a completely different scale with video games. I mean, Hollywood in 2024 brought in $20 billion. The video game industry brought in $200 billion. So we're just talking about very different things here, very different like numbers here. And with, of course, like the MCU, a lot of people have come to realize that superheroes are kind of dead. And I don't think that it is because of just superhero fatigue. I think that it is bad superhero fatigue. It's happening with Marvel and it's happening with DC, but Marvel's been extremely bad about it because they've pumped out so much more content, and it sucks. I'd love for every show and every movie to come out and be great, even if it's not a show for me, it's for somebody, but they're just making shows for the, I don't know, 0.5%, and it's not turning out well for them. So instead of just admitting defeat, they cry bigotry. So Ironheart, which stars Dominique Thorne as Riri Williams, debuted on Disney Plus with a 3-episode drop on June 24th, which, by the way, this has been in development for so many years, and you could only create 6 episodes in total. Like, what are you doing? Within hours, Rotten Tomatoes showed a dismal 32% audience score, a figure so low that it sparked immediate accusations of coordinated hate. Outlets like Screen Rant have predictably started pushing the same playbook we've seen time and time again. Sadly, Ironheart has been subjected to a review bombing campaign, but MCU fans are fighting back, they wrote in their latest defense. The fact that the newest MCU show hasn't even aired before earning negative reviews illustrates an unscrupulous effort to harm the show for reasons that have escaped very few. Now, even if, let's say, there were a couple hundred people that put negative reviews on before release, in theory, if as many people were watching this as the Access Media wants to claim and were loving it, those reviews would basically be wiped away, right? Like, nobody would be paying attention to those reviews anymore because the positive ones would far outweigh the negative ones. It's happening time and time again where people just do not like the content, and so they leave negative reviews, and that can't always be because of review bombing. It's because people simply do not like the content, and the media needs to get that through their heads at this point. They need to finally admit defeat. According to the same Screen Rant piece, fans began fighting back by flooding the platform with positive reviews. The audience score jumped from 32% to nearly 70% before quickly falling off again and hitting around 60% as of writing. But yeah, that doesn't mean that viewers suddenly started enjoying it. We know that Rotten Tomatoes had actually seemingly, of course, removed reviews, but if you also go to a platform that does not remove reviews that they have called bigoted and that does not have like anti-review bombing, systems in place, IMDb's is still sitting at a very terrible 3.7. So either way, that is still not good. And to top all of that off, even reviews aside, numbers you can't fake, for streaming originals, it was not even in the top 10 for its review period, for its launch period. This show launched on the 24th, so 2 days left on this chart. Waterfront, Love Island, Ginny and Georgia, America's Sweethearts, We Were Liars, Department Q, The Better Sister, Fubar, Stick, Mobland. It's literally not here. So even if the reviews were fake and it wasn't getting that bad of scores, nobody's even watching it. So of course, if the people who are watching it don't like it and they're so few in numbers, you're not going to see a positive picture no matter which way you turn and no matter which way you look. And honestly, I don't know how anybody was supposed to like a character like this. I'm a woman, I'm a Marvel fan. This technically, in theory, should have been the perfect series for me. I'm part of its target audience, and I just don't like it because of how much they disrespect, in my opinion, a significantly better character, Iron Man. There are so many hilarious posts about this, but in Ironheart, Riri Williams is complaining Tony Stark had billions while creating Iron Man because being kidnapped by terrorists and only staying alive due to a magnet and in a cave with a box of scraps was more difficult than working in a well-funded laboratory. And even if we put this aside for a second, remember when he absolutely wrecked the squad of armed mercenaries with weapons he built out of stuff that he bought from a hardware store? Like, Tony Stark wasn't just a rich guy. He was a rich guy. He was a genius. He was crafty. He was quick-witted. That is what made Iron Man such a good character. Riri Williams just doesn't really have anything going for her except her gender and her skin color, and this whole show in general just doesn't feel like a good piece of MCU content. It's just written so poorly. It's so disappointing to see that another bad product ended up releasing, and of course I haven't seen the full thing yet because only 3 episodes are out at this point, but I don't see a lot of people even going back after those 3 episodes if they got through them, just because of how mediocre and bland this whole thing really turned out to be. And the thing with Riri Williams and Ironheart is that she might actually be one of Marvel's most like comic accurate live action adaptations, but that doesn't mean that it's good. She was disliked for the same reasons in the comics that she is in live action, and they didn't try to enhance her. They didn't try to fix her flaws. They didn't try to make her a better character when they finally put her on the big screen. They basically just copy and pasted like her entitlement and her lack of depth and her arrogance. So none of this has turned out to be very good for Marvel. And of course, the Access media is trying their best to damage control, and it's not working. So I'll be keeping my eye on this. When the other episodes come out, I will watch it just because that's part of my job. And I think that it's only fair that I do, but it is really bad so far. And I am honestly so surprised that Marvel thought that this would turn out well. I got with like, I don't know, the Eternals. They thought a big, cool cast of characters. All of them are really different in their own ways, but they come together and fight a bigger enemy with each other. Like, at least that had an idea going for it. Oh, well, if we reboot Captain America with Anthony Mackie's version, okay, well, at least he's a character that people knew. Those I could slightly understand the mentality, but there's just no mentality behind it at all whatsoever, except for we need to push the diverse girl bosses more, and it is epically failing for them. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.